Oh, yes. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to the end of the week and another morning stream here on the Den of Nerds Live. This one's a little bit different than our usual morning stream. We went a little later because we were watching Black Widow together late last night with the Nerd Vengers behind the scenes. I had a lot of fun on the watch party, and so this video right here will sort of serve to give you my breakdown, my thoughts, my sort of first reaction to Black Widow. Maybe you'll be watching this on the replay. I know a lot of people are watching Black Widow at different times. So here's the thing with regards to that. I am pretty interested in how Black Widow is going to do in a number of different capacities. I'm wondering how the fan base is going to react to Black Widow. I really am. I'm curious. I want to know if it'll be mostly positive, if it will be negative, or if it'll be sort of middle of the road. It was a divided audience, I would say, last night while we were watching it on the watch party. To give you my brief thoughts before I sort of get into more of the movie, I enjoyed the movie, but there were a lot of flaws in it, and there were also a lot of things working against the film. So it's one of those situations, man, where I almost feel like the movie has it has a series of problems that are not the movie's fault or doing. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But I'm pretty curious. I want to know what people think about it. So let us know in the chat, or if you watch this on the replay, let us know in the comment section how you felt about the flick. I'm very interested, number one, in how fans react to it. Number two, I'm curious as to how the movie will perform. I'm wondering how it'll do. Is it going to make all the monies? Is it not going to make that much monies? Are people going to complain about spending $30 for the movie and then not getting what they wanted, or et cetera, et cetera? Like, how's the movie going to do in the box office on Disney Plus? How will that be reported on? Because frankly, I think that's one of the things that's sort of working against the movie is even the release schedule / release of it, right? Where, leading up to it, I told all the Nerd Vengers, I was like, we'll do this watch party thing. I want to do the watch party with you guys. And I felt like that would be really, really cool to just get in right away for a number of different reasons. But the truth was, a lot of people saw Black Widow before the release on Disney Plus. It was released theatrically even 2 days before, I think, in other parts of the world. And there were not even really that many concerns about spoilers when that happened, because I think we all sort of realized this film wasn't really going to have that many spoilers or be necessarily like that impactful, if you will, to the overall fold of the MCU. So I felt like the way it was released, like the way the movie rolled out, and the fact that we did the watch party super late in the morning, which I started to like kind of think of, and maybe it's just because I'm freaking exhausted and everything like that, but I also started to think like, man, why did we really even sort of stay up for that? There weren't really spoilers for it, and it was fun to like kind of watch it as it was, released or whatever. But ultimately, it just felt like there wasn't the ability to build hype the way you would think you would build hype for a Marvel movie. And I think part of that came from the way it was released, but also part of it came from the fact that we knew the film wasn't all that consequential. Beyond even that, like, the movie, I think for, a lot of folks, beyond it just not being consequential to the MCU, the vibe of it felt a little out of time because, of course, this was a movie that was supposed to happen, more or less right after Endgame. And I have to wonder, I thought a lot about this. I was like, what is that kind of a separation in time due to a film and the expectations for a movie like this? And, I just kept thinking that for me personally, my attitude on it, I was like sort of able to forgive a lot of stuff in the film, but I wonder how many other fans felt that same way, and how many fans just felt totally disengaged. Like, a lot of the people that I saw were like, dude, it's not just the fact that it's the Black Widow movie that should have come out in phase 2 or 3. Probably should have replaced the slot for Captain Marvel. But it's also the fact that, dude, this I remember doing a trailer breakdown for this movie when I was in Orlando on a boys trip late 2019, and the hype was leading up to the Rise of Skywalker. I remember like doing a quick trailer breakdown for one of the final trailer, that month or whatever. And dude, it's been so long. It's been so long for the movie, and I do think that with all this other really hype stuff, I mean, this week we got Loki episode 5, which was ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. And almost as long as about half of Black Widow, right? You also got that What If trailer. And I don't know, man. You guys let me know. We did a ton of streams yesterday. I saw a lot of interaction with the community, a lot of interaction on social media. I personally think the What If trailer was really great for Marvel. I think it performed really, really well for them. So you kind of have this place where now the audience expectations and sort of where the audience is at. We're at a place that Black Widow was never meant to serve. Like, this was not the time that the Black Widow movie was supposed to come out. And, look, I'm going to be that guy a little bit. And I'll say I had this idea, you know what I mean? There was an idea, ladies and gentlemen, that in 2020, when the pandy was going, that Marvel Studios and Disney should have just released this film for free on Disney+. I know, it's crazy. And I think maybe some of you still to this day are like, no, that's a bizarre idea. That would have been ridiculous. I think if they had done that, this movie would have been received and would have ultimately been received much better. And fans would have forgiven a lot of the things, but it was held back, and there was all this time and all this length, and then it comes out, and it is the film that it is, which I think, ultimately I think where my score is at is like a 7.5. It's definitely not a bad movie, but I think compared to like other MCU movies and sort of the MCU landscape, it doesn't hit towards the top, right? So, so again, that is strange because I find that a lot of that is not the film's fault. Some people out there give it like a much lower score than me, I think. I've seen a lot of people that are like, I think Paul from Heavy Spoilers gave it a 6.5, and he said he was genuinely disappointed with it. There were other people. I think Jeremy John said, wasn't into it. There were a lot of people that weren't that into it, and I can totally see why. Like, ultimately, just on face value, like sort of getting out of the exterior of it and talking about the movie itself, there's a lot of face value problems with the film. I think pacing is a major problem with this movie. I think the beginning of the movie is paced so strangely, and maybe it was just like watching it on Disney Plus or whatever, but like, what a weird intro to the movie. Like, I get it, and it's a fun idea to have like the Russian spies in America and that whole concept and everything like that's fine. But the scene's really just weird. It's paced funny. There's not like even all that great of action. There's a lot of weird inconsistency edits in the film too, of like, did homie really just have like on the airplane the whole time? The wing of the airplane the whole time? You know what I mean? And they never show. There's a couple of different times in the movie where weird stuff like that gets resolved, like when she's picking him up on the helicopter thing. You never see them actually get in. They're just in. And like, there's little weird stuff like that that just sort of, for me, was like, okay, that's a little jarring. And then essentially the back half of the movie just becomes, here's your plot point and your action set piece. You know what I mean? Now, it's fine. The prison scene's fantastic. You know what I mean? I think the prison scene's fantastic. I think the end scene is cool. We've seen a lot of it, though. We've seen a lot of it in the trailers, which is another sort of knock against the film that isn't necessarily the film's fault because, shit, man, they had 2 rounds of promotion for this film. You know what I mean? It's a very unique situation. Ultimately, it's like good, but never, like, there's no moments in this movie to me that really capture any sort of greatness and or relevancy to the larger MCU, which is a bummer. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, the French arms dealer dude that everybody thought was going to end up being freaking Taskmaster, right? That character's pointless. And instead of that character, like, why isn't she legitimately talking to somebody from the other movies or something? Like, what's up with that? Like, I get it, it's after Civil War and shit, but like, or some other juicy Marvel thing. Like, who is that guy? Like, why? What? Who? Don't get it. Don't care for it. Whatever. You know? So, not enough juice where you could have had juice. You know, you look at the Captain America movies, dude, you're getting like a who's who. Like, it's juicy. A lot of Marvel stuff dropping. You know what I mean? A lot of Marvel stuff. This did not really have that. You know what I mean? So I think in that way it is lacking a bit as well. The action is good. There's really fun action. Like, I found there to be a lot of fun action, and visually it's really, really cool. You know, obviously the MCU people, they know how to do spectacle and action really, really well. So there's a lot of fun stuff with that. But ultimately, there's not a wowing, except for the scene. You know what I thought was really interesting? One of the best scenes is when Yelena and Natasha face off when they first meet each other. That scene was ridiculous, and they go hard. But it's almost like laughably hard. Like, they go way too hard on each other, and you don't see as good of action of them fighting the enemies and stuff like that, okay? So it's like, I almost like want to say there's good stuff, but it just wasn't even utilized in the best way. You know what I mean? It might sound like I'm crapping on the movie. I'm not trying to crap on the movie. I'm just trying to tell you ultimately how I feel about it. Like, it's like a good movie that, like, should be better by all rights. You know what I mean? It should have been a much better movie. And I don't know, man. You know, I have the poll going on right now in the chat. And it seems like, you know, 57% of you guys will watch it multiple times. And that's cool. That's cool. That seems about right. I'll at least watch it one more time. Because there's a lot of stuff that I enjoy. So let me talk about, I actually like Dreykov a lot, and I love the base flying up in the sky, and I love his connection to all these other, like, powerful men and all these different things that he was doing. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on there, but it almost feels like it didn't commit enough, man. It didn't commit enough. Like, make that dude way more badass, because the thing that would have been dope is essentially Natasha goes on a side quest to stop this other threat that's, like, just as real and crazy as all of the other threats that the Avengers were facing and could have destroyed the world. So there's major stakes there, and so it's like another little badge of honor on the Girl Scout friggin' thing for Natasha, the sash. I'm all for that, but it doesn't feel like it commits enough to that. Like, dude, Ray Winstone is dope in the film. Okay, the pheromone thing was kind of whack, I'm not gonna lie. That was hilariously weird to me, and also, like, oh my god, like, a pretty whack. I'll be honest. That aspect of it was pretty stupid. But the visuals of that base, the gravitas that he brings to that role, and they did have some really good scenes. It's cool. Like, it was sweet. I liked that aspect of it. I was like, dude, this is sweet. I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. Like, let's go. Would have been really, really cool to see that expanded upon and really solidified as, like, a major threat to the MCU. You know what I mean? It just seems like a little too dope for just being dope's sake. Like, it doesn't, again, really add that much to anything. I think ultimately the film really serves to set up Yelena as the Black Widow moving forward. And, of course, there's the post-credit scene with Val. What did you guys think of that post-credit scene? I'm really curious. What did you guys think of it? I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really love it. Which is odd, because I liked her scene in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, actually. I thought it was cool. But I'm going to be real. It was a little weird to me to see a post-credit / ending note of a Disney Plus show then be the thing you're going to do at the end of a post-credit scene for a major MCU movie. And if you're going to tease Hawkeye, right? If you're going to tease Hawkeye, why not get Jeremy Renner and have him be slicing and dicing, baby? Dude, come on, man. You want to get the hype train going? Don't show me freaking Val just talking shit to Yelena outside of a fucking great. I don't know. For me, not good enough. Not good enough. Stupid. If I'm being honest. Stupid. So, overall, a mixed bag with Black Widow, I would say. A mixed bag. A mixed bag with Black Widow. You know what I mean? So, I think a lot of people, my gut tells me this movie might be received kind of negatively, actually, by the fan base. I feel like critics have been pretty fair to it, but I feel like the fan base is not going to reciprocate that same stuff. I saw people that loved it. That's dope. I will say I cannot just get up here and shit all over it because there was really cool, great stuff in it. A lot of fun Marvel action in this thing, and I love to watch these movies again. So I'm gonna check it out again. Black Widow's dope, but I just want to say, just for me as a comic book fan. Okay, as a comic book fan, last major point I'll make, and then I think we'll just get into Q&A, guys. We'll just kind of keep it a little bit lighter today. We'll talk about maybe, some of the implications moving forward, but really, there's not that many relevant implications. You know what I mean? It's just, Hawkeye's going to happen. Thunderbolts are her thing. She has a relationship with Val, etc., etc. I will say, for me as a Black Widow fan, I have read way cooler comic book runs with Black Widow. I have read way cooler comics that have Black Widow in them as a person, just as a player. And, this felt pretty Disney. I'm not going to lie. It felt pretty Disney. You know what I mean? Just to be real with y'all, it felt pretty Disney. They could have gone one or two ways with the Natasha movie. Okay? She wants to wipe out Red in her ledger and all that stuff. But, I mean, Natasha's pretty crazy, brutal, and is an incredible spy. And she's hardened, man. You know what I mean? She's a savage, dude. She's savage. Natasha Romanoff, you don't want to mess with Natasha Romanoff, dude. She's a badass. So, to sort of paint her in this light of she's one of the only ones that has a good heart, and somehow through the power of her heart, she unifies this weird pseudo family thing. That's pretty Disney. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you can't have a heartwarming movie and have a good ending and all that kind of stuff, but to me, for Black Widow, I don't know. To be fair, it does sort of line up with the character they've established in the MCU, though. The MCU version of her has been more loving and more, friendly, I guess, kind, less of a savage killer. Now, let's talk about the Taskmaster thing. Okay, so let's talk about the Taskmaster thing. Let's end this poll. And let's get another one going on. By the way, smash like on the video, ladies and gentle beings. We have a lot of live streams coming at you. 2 live streams a day over here, Monday through Friday. Nerd Ventures only streams on Saturday. I'm going to do a Nerd Ventures Prime stream today as well, guys, at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Look for that on Discord and the membership tab. So if you like nerd venging in these streets, if you like checking out all of the dope nerdy content and seeing what all these other nerds think about it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the other channel. Go get Grandma's computer and have her subscribe to the channel as well. The next time somebody asks you to fill out a survey at the cashier, tell them to subscribe to the Den of Nerds. And they'll never fill out surveys like that because they're bullcrap. So, let's talk about Taskmaster. I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off about this one, man. To be real, Chaff, that's terrible. I feel awful. But call your uncles then or something. Come on, man. I got to be honest, I wasn't as butthurt about this as I think other people are going to be, only because I think I was a little bit forewarned. Other people had sort of told me, and let me know it was not that good. It was kind of whack what they did with Taskmaster. As a character element thingy, it's fine. as like, oh my gosh, we're missing out on Taskmaster, one of the dopest Marvel villains, yeah, it's pretty trash, bro. Like, I can't help but think that if you would have had a dope Taskmaster, like even the first scene on the bridge where like the heavy footsteps and all that, I just couldn't. I wanted to hear like a Natasha Romanoff. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be glorious to add you to my kill list, you dumb bitch. And had like some crazy like dialogue like that with Taskmaster, who is so dope and can walk the walk and talk the talk. Yeah, it would have been way better. Would have been way better. They chose to go a different route. I hope they ultimately give us a real Taskmaster someday. Perhaps the Taskmaster protocol and a new super soldier or something will be the way to do that. I don't know, man. That the Taskmaster stuff was not great, but I mean, there's hope that they'll do it right in the future. I mean, they did that with the Mandarin, et cetera, et cetera. It seems like they listen to fans. It's such a weird. Yeah, it was weird. You know what I mean? It was weird. This is your Taskmaster now. Oh, shit. All right, so let's get into the Q and the A, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, we're going to be doing some gaming tonight on the channel, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you're feeling some Halo, maybe some Knockout City, maybe some mother-flipping Fortnite. I think I'll start with Fortnite. When I go live at 7:30, I'll already be in a Fortnite game. And I'll show you guys how absolutely awful I am at Fortnite. It'll be really funny. Because I'm bad. Like real bad. So that'll be fun. Okay, let's get into Q&A. I'll go through the super chats. If you got a super chat, drop it on in. We'll go over every single super chat that comes in within reason. If you don't have any loot, though, don't worry about it. We'll talk in the chat as well. And again, I know there's probably a lot of people that have not seen the movie yet. So I expect there'll probably be a lot of people just kind of watching on replay. If you've got a question or something on the that you want to put into the comment section, drop that in the comment section. Maybe I'll go over a few of them in another stream. But here we go. Blurred You Heard Network says, bruh, the early reviews were BS. I like this movie. Taskmaster was better than said, and Yelena was not steal this movie from Natasha. Overall, I loved it. Dude, that's dope. That's dope. I'm glad you think so. I mean, like I said, I totally get the Taskmaster hate. I wasn't as mad about it as other people were, but I can't tell if that's just because other people sort of warned me about it. You know what I mean? Taskmaster is cool and all that, and I love the Taskmaster in the Spider-Man video game, dude, but it's also like not something I'm so attached to that I'm like, damn, Marvel Comics has ruined everything. I must now never enjoy Marvel again because of what they did with the Taskmaster. I just think ultimately it was just a poor choice because you could have had a way cooler, quippier villain and had more fun. That's all. Justin Caruso says, imagine if at the end Cap stepped out of the jet and said, time to go, Natasha. But yeah, slow movie, didn't love it. Didn't feel like it got me anywhere. Yeah, that's another part of it. Like, why not Cap? Why not have that end scene with Cap or something like that? Like, it just really felt like, it felt weird in that sense. Like, where's the fucking connective tissue, man? Where's the connective tissue? Masma says with a $5 holla, emotional beats were good, but it was flawed. I'm going to see it in the big screen. Oh, see if the big screen changes on Sunday. Dope. You want lady thoughts? Come Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Lady Mangs will be giving their thoughts 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I assume that's on Lavis's Discord, which you can find via our Discord and all the discordiness of Discord. Strictly Sports Production with a $5 holla says, were the reports of mutants in the movie unsubstantiated or did Feige remove them? What mutant reports? Even being given some mutants would have revived this movie for me. Yeah, so the only thing I could say is at one time there was a rumor that Omega Red was going to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and then possibly was going to be in Black Widow, but it actually was more that he would be in Shang-Chi. I don't remember any leaks really saying that there was going to be mutants in Black Widow. In fact, the last time I was watching checking out leaks for Black Widow, we knew the whole movie, even the smell thing, which I thought was so ridiculous, even when reading the leaks. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that was at. I don't think he removed mutants from them. No. Armini, the $3 says, Josh, I want to know why the Taskmaster misdirection. Honestly, it's just a choice made by the Look, I can see in the writer's room, I can see in a writer's mind being like, okay, so Natasha's going to have this thing where she killed Dreykov's daughter that's hanging over her head, and it makes her feel real bad. She's real guilty. She's feeling real guilty about that shit. Well, what if Taskmaster, this villain she was fighting the whole movie, is also the metaphorical villain that she's fighting within her own soul? And in the last part of the movie, we reveal the face of Taskmaster, the mauled and mutilated face of Dreykov's daughter that's not only still alive, but is worse than dead, being used as a weapon. Much like fucking what I could get it. I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. I just don't think it hits like that, man. Look, but that's fine. Ultimately, I think we can sit up here and we can say, well, it didn't work or it landed or whatever. I respect Marvel and the writers and the teams for taking shots at stuff. Even Loki takes shots at stuff that sometimes doesn't totally land with me, but I'm like, nah, man, that's cool. Like, do your thing, take your shots, go for it. The Taskmaster thing could have been cool. I think it just would have plainly helped if there was more action. Like, Taskmaster didn't even really have all that much action. Like, there was some. Not enough. The Amethyst Bendu says, Taskmaster really disappointed me in the film. Yeah, man. I don't think you're alone. I don't think you're alone. Armani follows up, says, are you going to review and watch The Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2? If you do, I'll be a happy nerd Avenger. So I did watch Part 1. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the animation was great. Voice cast did well. I think some people thought Jensen wouldn't kill it or whatever. But ultimately, I thought it was good. And I'm excited for Part 2. Joker was phenomenal in it. But probably not going to do content based around it. Because, first of all, screw Warner Brothers. Also, it has to be a bigger story for us to do DC stuff. We don't necessarily do a lot of review type stuff for that. But with Black Widow, I thought, I definitely wanted to sort of do this stream just talking about it after watching it. I'm sure some people, again, will watch it on replay after they've seen Black Widow. And, if you're fresh out of Black Widow, you want to hear what other people have to say about it. You want to, feel like you're a part of a conversation about it. And so that's kind of what this video is here. And we do a lot more Marvel stuff, so that's kind of why. Tyler Wakefield says, Yelena in Red Guardian, best bits with the action. It's pretty hard for me to dislike any Marvel movie. Thought Taskmaster was okay. They can always bring a new version. At least it's not Stark Tech. Fair point. Fair point there, Tyler. I can't argue with that. And I had fun with the film. It's a really weird mixed bag for me, man. I'm really on the fence about this film. I think there's other people that are more disappointed in it than I am, and that's understandable. That shit happens. That's par for the course. But my ultimate thoughts are 7.5. It's fine. I'm just really ready for. I'm way more excited for Loki next week. You know what I mean? I'm way more excited for that. Way more excited for What If, which is interesting, right? I don't know if I would have ever said that. A Marvel movie. It just shows a lot of where the fan base has moved to. A Marvel movie, a freaking movie, $100 million budget movie. And I'm more excited for a cartoon that's coming out in the middle of August that may or may not even be canon. You know what I mean? Come on, think about that. That's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Armani says they did this twist in Solo. You're right. Not quite the same, but they did a similar type twist in Solo. Matthew says, do you think Black Widow should have been a show? No, not necessarily. I just think Black Widow should have come out either in phase 2 or 3 or when it was supposed to. But it couldn't. It is just the world we live in, bro, I don't... I don't know what to say. It's like there's just a lot working against the film that's not necessarily the film's fault. The film's not great. It's good, though. It's not great. It's good. So, Brax Sykes says, I just can't help but feel that it really didn't further the MCU like most movies do. What do you think along those lines? Yeah, no, I actually 100% agree with that. I think at the time that it had normally been scheduled to release, it would have been one of these things where it would have been like, oh, that was fun. Like a nice little breath of fresh air after Endgame and being like, oh, like we just saw Spider-Man. Oh, that was kind of fun and poppy. Now we're watching the Black Widow movie. Hey, Natasha finally got her movie. Let's go. Like, this is fun. Oh, whoa, she had this side mission thing. That's all crazy. A year later and a pandy later, which felt like a decade, and we're basically like, bro, this didn't do shit for me, Marvel. What have you done for me lately? You should have released this a year ago. Fuck y'all. You know what I mean? That's kind of, hey, I can understand how the fan base is at that place. And that's why I said, like, ultimately, I'm really interested to see how the fans respond to this. Because I don't think it's going to be favorably. Like, I got to be honest. Like, I think Marvel may have to hold somewhat of an L here. I'm not personally crapping all over the film, but I acknowledge its flaws, and I think that it's very possible we might live in a world where people are like, dude, Black Widow was not good. So, Deshaun Ficklin says, I think this movie would have been great right before Civil War. I liked the movie, but I wanted more. I still love to see ScarJo in leather. Oh, yeah. I'm going to be honest, though. I think she had a butt double. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to say it. A lot of those butt shots, they cut away before you see the face. I think she had a butt double. I'm going to just be real with y'all. Wait, what the? Okay, let's see here. Glenn Peters says, Taskmaster Thunderbolts. I actually love this movie and saw it in theaters last night. Thanks for the content, brother. Hey, man, I'm glad you liked it, bro. That's dope. That's cool. Always like it when people are having fun, man. And, you know, this Nerd Vengeance stuff, it's all about having fun. So even myself, like, I had fun. I had fun. But, you know, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Quentin Lee says, totally disagree. I think it did great world building, and the end credits also helped. Also thought it was a good film in general. Hey, man, that's totally fair, Quentin. Totally fair. Glad to see your opinion out there. The end credit scene sets stuff up for sure. You know what I mean? I mean, it sets up that Hawkeye. Val obviously has a relationship with Yelena. Yelena is playing somewhat of a big role, we think, moving forward. So I'm into it. I am into it. I'm just stuck at a weird place with it is ultimately where I'm at. But we'll see. I would want a butt double. Yeah, man. I mean, you know. Who wouldn't, I guess, right? Maybe I'll do a butt double on the Den of Nerds. Every time I walk off camera, it'll just cut to some dude with like a huge bubble butt or something. Because he wasn't responsible for Nat's death? Sure. Okay. Yeah, that sets something up. So maybe being manipulated. Yeah. Could be cool. Bubble butt. Yeah. No, Red Hulk was disappointing too. Sure. I can see that. Eternals connection. Where was the Eternals connection? Did I miss that? Do you think Yelena would kill Hawkeye, or would he survive to clear his name? I think he's going to survive, but I think he's going to fade away. I think Clint's time is done, and I think that'll be part of what happens in Hawkeye. But I think like they're going to set up Echo, Kate Bishop, and I guess Yelena as well in Hawkeye, so that's kind of interesting, yeah. Sharon says, big what if. What if Kevin Feige had a non-Disney MCU to run? What if he could go as dark as he wanted? Well, you know, I think that if, let's just say, for the sake of speculation, if Feige did not have the Disney constraints, I do believe things would be different. Absolutely. I think, number one, there would be way more comic book stuff, just in general. because I think Feige's just so sweaty with that, and he always wants to do all this kind of stuff, and I think that I could see some corporate-y stuff being like, well, we only want this, and we can only do this, and stuff like that. As far as it being darker, I'm sure he would go darker with the dark characters. You know what I mean? I think there's absolutely been stuff that they've had to tone down for the Marvel movies, and I think Kevin's done a great job of adjusting to that and still giving us like really cool stuff, right? So I don't know. It's tough. You know, I'll say this: people and creators change with time and with age. So, as just a way, for instance, I remember asking Dave Filoni when he came and spoke to at my college, and I asked him about the idea phase and sort of the big bubble idea phase, and like, so I was basically just curious of like, what were the things that you wanted to do with Star Wars, and your instinct, like George was like, no, that's not it, and he describes how like he always wanted to do darker stuff. He always wanted to do darker stuff, and George would be like, this is not fun. Star Wars needs to remain fun, and I think that was a reflection of just where George had arrived to as a storyteller. You know what I mean? If you look at like THX 1138 and just the OG Star Wars, there was darker stuff in there. I feel like it was a little bit more dark. And then he just lightens up, and over time, like, he just becomes the guy that wants to tell more lighter stories. I think Kevin, even in the course of the last 10 years, has lightened up a bit and doesn't necessarily want to do those same darker stories and things like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's all speculation. I mean, who knows, man? I only talk to the dude about twice a week. Blurred Herd Network says Dreykov explaining the genetics in Black Widow was a possible Eternals connection. Okay, cool. On my rewatch, I'm gonna have to check that out, brother, because I do not remember that exact scene or that exact line. But yeah. No, I'll definitely check that out, and that's fun if that is indeed a big connection there. Casey Watson, thank you so much for the $20, man. Very generous. Says the Budapest tease we've been getting for years was underwhelming for me. More like Budapest or Bonerpest. Haha, take my money. Yeah, I will agree. That was pretty weak, yeah? Like, why wouldn't you have Hawkeye in the movie? You know? Like, what is the deal with that, dude? What is the deal with that? Have to check it out. I'm excited. Look, either way, like, it's hard to be mad about this movie as well. Like, how can I be mad about this movie? It's almost like a finally thing. I'm happy it's here. I'm going to watch it again. It's fun. It's actiony. You get to live in Marvel's world a little bit more. William Crowell, welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. Welcome, my friend. Big Nerdvenger stream tomorrow, so that's going to be fun. Didn't want the white gut, I think you mean white guy, to save the day. Hey, man, there might have been some of that in the movie, and I know that's something that certain people will take issue with more than others. I think your mileage may vary with that sort of stuff, right? Like, for me, the pheromone stuff is silly, and, like, I suppose if it was some kind of meta statement on, like, male and female relationships or whatever, like, I'd just, like, dude, miss me with that. Like, that's just so fucking stupid. But it's stupid also just at face value. Like, come on, bro. Pheromones and your smelling some motherfucker's gonna make a assassin not kill people. Like, it's just, for me, it's silly at face. You know what I mean? So we'll see what people say, man. I'm interested. Marvel's in an interesting place. They're at an interesting impasse, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of the year goes with them with all this crazy content. I mean, there's just a lot of fun stuff to be excited for, but there's also like some like legitimate reasons to be a bit concerned. I'm not one of these people that you know me, like I don't feed into the whole culture war thing. Like I'm not looking for every little thing to be like, oh, anti-SJW or whatever. But I do acknowledge that, like, bro, these studios are way out of touch. Even if the studio, like, here's what I always like to say. Even if a studio is just 2 years behind the time, and it's not even that they're woke per se, they're just following old trends, because I think even most normal people are like a little just tired of all the wokeness. You know what I mean? Regardless of where you sit politically, I think most normal, average people are like, this is fucking a little much. You know what I mean? Just all the time, over the place, right? You know, oh shit, don't cancel me, everyone. Please don't. But I think that's naturally where people are at. But I don't think that's where corporations are at. I think corporations are still really out of touch, and they're like in that 2018, 2017 mindset of like when it was like the shit to be like talking about everything like that. You know what I mean? I feel like that disconnect can be taken all sorts of different ways, but ultimately for me, it's just people are just moved. People are just at a different place than the corpos are, dude. The corpos, and the corpos aren't there because they give a shit anyways, trust me. Trev says with a $10 holla, Dreykov was Stryker's character out of X2, disfigured kid, etc. That's interesting. Whole movie felt like a mashup of Wolverine's story from the Fox franchise, Wolverine's story mashed up from X2 Origins, and Logan. Huh. I could totally see that, bro. That's actually a good point. I see what you are saying with that. That's an interesting thing to bring up. Wonder how you felt about it, Trev. What did you think? What's your score? In fact, everybody now in the chat, if you could do me a favor, put your score out of 10. Put your score out of 10 of how you thought the movie was. What'd you think? Score out of 10. What do you think? What do you think? Interesting comments, Trev. Interesting. That's pretty cool. A lot of about what I would expect, around that 7 to 8 range. You got some outliers, of course, but around that range seems pretty average. Let's see here. Alma Pow says, watch with Normie. They loved it. Normies will like it. Sweaties won't. Like it more watching it with a normie. Fair. Movie dragged a little bit. Good, not great. Fair. You know, I saw somebody in the chat say, too, it goes both ways with the exhaustion because there are also people that are exhausted by the anti-wokeness as well. And I totally agree with that. I think that conversation and basically just everybody barking at each other or just digging their heels in. And yeah, I think a lot of people are moved on from that, man. A lot of people just aren't feeling that shit anymore. And it's exhausting both ways, right? But the thing is, the corporations might just be behind. Like, they legitimately could just be behind and out of touch with regards to that. For almost all different, situations and types of people. Would love to see Hawkeye and Yelena recopy the fight scene from Endgame. That could be fun. So, what do you guys think? Like, I guess I'm just interested, because I think one of the things that's funny about the film is that it does not bum me out at all for future MCU stuff. There's nothing about this movie that makes me feel like, oh, well, now we're in trouble or whatever. Again, it's just so... I find myself just being so understand. It's like a very Zen thing for me, where I'm like, this is about the movie I was expecting. It has a lot of problems, and a lot of those problems are about what I expected. It's not a crap fest, but it's certainly not great. Of course, you think it would have been amazing if it was just mind-blowingly good and everybody was like, yo, this shit's ridiculous, right? But, yeah, I don't know. Alma says, I think wokeness isn't too exhausting. Not listening and canceling people are. I think wokeness isn't too exhausting. Not listening and canceling people are. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. But, you're just kind of speaking to your personal perspective there, so... That's cool. That's cool. Joseph said, bro, what was you expecting from a Black Widow movie? For them to set up Kang? Like, damn. No, not necessarily. I mean, that would have been actually pretty absurd. You know what I mean? But I will also say that, Black Widow, Natasha's been involved in crazy things from the comics, right? Black Widow gets a Asgardian weapons, I do believe, during the Fear Itself event. Black Widow is literally worthy of Mjolnir at one point in comics. Black Widow, what else has Black Widow done that's so crazy in the comics? Because Black Widow's done a lot. I think in Age of Ultron, the actual story, Natasha was one of the people hanging out with Red Hulk that has survived Ultron's reign. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily that I'm like, oh, dude, this movie should be bananas and crazy and all that. But I just think that it could have been more wild. Like if you think about the beats of the film, and again, I'm not really crapping on it or whatever. I like the movie, but if you think about the beats of the film, it's almost like let's set up Natasha's family, but it's a spy family thing, and let's do that, but then she'll also still be attached to them, and it's kind of like pretty contrived. I suppose just adapting crazy comic book stuff is also contrived. So pick your poison, I guess. But yeah. Yeah. William says Dreykov's daughter coming out of the mind control could be used to phase her out of being Taskmaster. If she was traumatized by what they did to her, she could step away from the mantle, take my money. Absolutely. I think she'll definitely step away from the mantle. You think she's going to keep doing that? Nah, fam. I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. I think we're probably done with that character. I think they're probably done with that character. And also, too, we're also swimming in a sea of variants, as it were, with Marvel right now. So who's to say we can't get a Taskmaster from an alternate universe that's that man? Like, oh, there goes that man kind of thing, you know? I'm interested. I'm interested to see what people think. What's the response going to be? How do the fans react? Yeah. They've ruined Taskmaster worse than Fox did with Deadpool in that Wolverine movie. Interesting, Jax. Interesting take. I can't necessarily argue with you. They can't ruin Taskmaster if there are millions out there. Amen, Tyler. Don't speak of that, Deadpool. Val is the one behind the TVA. Dude, that'd be fucking lame, bro. I'll be real with y'all. That would be lame. Connor or Dustin? I'm going with Connor. I'm going to let my emotions get the best of me. I'm going to gamble with my heart. I'm going to choose to believe that Connor's going to come back to greatness, put on an incredible show, and prove that he's back fully and wholly. And if he doesn't, I'll complain a lot. And I'll say that the MCU sucks now. I was expecting more of a backstory of Natasha that's been sprinkled out all these years, and it's just passing combo. Ended up getting more backstory from every other character. I think that's fair. I think that is a fair criticism. So we'll probably get out of here in just a second, guys. I appreciate everybody coming in. I appreciate your thoughts. I know these things can get heated. I know people have different opinions about all that. It is all really and truly good, ladies and gentlemen. I enjoyed the movie, didn't love the film, and I'm excited about what's coming in the MCU. I think there's plenty of much, I would say, better, dare I say better stuff ahead for us Marvel fans. So let's get it. Let's get it, fam. If you didn't like the movie, I'm sure you can acknowledge that there's better stuff on the way. Probably some stuff that won't be to your liking. Marvel's getting pretty big at this point. So, yeah. Come to Presque Isle Downs on Tuesday, and you can bet on me to win. What? Jareth, are you a jockey? Are you a jockey? Are you going to be at Presque Isle Downs as a jockey? Or are you actually a racing dog that has somehow become cognizant and can type? Jareth, are you a racing dog that somehow can type? Interesting. Hey, man, that would be hilarious and fun. I don't know what I'm doing Thursday, so maybe that'd be kind of fun. Maybe we'll head on down. To Presque Isle Downs. See what's going down. How many different ways can I? Yeah, anyway. Quentin Lee says, Marvel getting so big, so there's going to be flavor for everyone. I agree with that. 100%, brother. I really do. And I like checking out stuff that's maybe not even totally for me and seeing how I like it, giving it a sample, you know? She-Hulk seems pretty weird. We'll see how that goes. You know, Miss Marvel is not a character that I would have found myself normally getting really pumped for. I'll probably check out the show, though. Who knows? Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I'll be like, yeah, not really for me. We're getting to that place, man. There's a lot of content out there with Marvel. So, look, as long as they keep doing stuff that I like, giving me fun toys to play with, I don't mind them doing stuff for other fans, with, you know, whomever they're targeting. I'm fine with it, as long as I get targeted as well. Don't leave me behind, Marvel. I want to be given some fun as well. So, all right, everybody, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate the love, as always. Come on by at 7:30 tonight for the gaming stream, if you feel like getting some gaming going on. All right, everybody? Checking out for now. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. So I guess I'll do a little bit of a stinger for those of you that are still here. So yesterday I was playing my Magic, you know, playing the new cards, and I got destroyed, plainly. Just destroyed all day and afternoon. It was really sucky. I was in a bad mood. I was trying to have fun, watch the other streams. Had a bunch of streams going on yesterday. And I'm getting my freaking butt kicked in freaking Magic, man. Now, I finally got a good deck going on and sealed. Finally. So we'll see what happens. But so far, so frustrating for your boy on that Magic. But yeah. Appreciate y'all. Sending you good vibes. Wherever you're at. Around the world. Nerdventures for life. See you later. A la Loki Gator.